I am Christian.
And I'm Angela. And we are married.
And bored. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 15 of the Married and Bored podcast.
The big 1-5.
The big 1-5. We're halfway, no, we're not halfway to 20. Halfway between 10 and 20.
That's some good math right there.
Yeah. My brain's not in it, you know?
It's hard.
We hope everyone's safe, staying indoors, wearing masks if you need to.
Doing some physical distancing.
Yep.
While trying to still be social with the people that matter.
That's deep.
Thank you. So we've taken a little bit of a longer break this time around. We've been trying to bite off a pretty big game here. Chunks out of a big game that we'll get into.
Yeah, both literally and figuratively, because the box of this game is giant.
Have you literally been biting the box?
Well, no, but It's a huge box. And, I mean, spoilers, whatever, you're listening. It's a campaign-style game. We are trying to finish this campaign.
Yes. You'll have to stick around to see if we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why there's a little bit of more time in between the last episode and this one. So thanks for sticking with us.
We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's jump on in.
Let's jump on in. We always start this show asking, what's up, Angela? What's up with you?
All right, what is up with me? Well, first thing that immediately comes to mind is I was doing a Target run for some toilet paper this week.
Any luck?
I did get a 6-pack.
Okay.
Which is fine. We're not greedy. We just need to wipe our butts. So we don't need to hoard it. We just wanted some toilet paper.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what I came to realize.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, so I was walking through, there's a new fancy big Target in our neighborhood, and so they've kind of redone it more like a department store, I guess, and so the layout's a little bit different. So as I was trying to find what I was looking for, I cut through the kids' toy section, and right backed up to that is the game aisle.
Which you have to look at every time you go.
Right. I just happened to walk through there. And you know what? Like, I don't know what your situations are like with your Target, Walmart, toy stores, whatever you have. But ours is pretty cleaned out. There wasn't a single puzzle that I could have purchased. Even the games were pretty few and far between. The only ones on the shelf were like the ones where like the dog poops and you have to like pick up its poop. I don't even know what that's called. So I would say like good classic games are like going off the shelf, like Monopoly and Sequence and Life and things like that. And it just made me realize that maybe the rest of the world is realizing the importance of this hobby. Ooh. Now that this pandemic has forced us to slow down a little and stay inside with those that are with us.
Yeah. And
they're realizing what games do. They bring people together. And I know it's a little deep, but
starting off.
But I'm just saying,
really heavy at the beginning of the show.
I couldn't help but think it when I was like, hey, this aisle is always full of games, and now they're all gone. It's not like everyone just started becoming a gamer. I think they just started realizing that they needed to fill up time, and then to fill up time, hopefully they will see the importance of games.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's that they're so bored is that they've now stooped down to, in their mind, to a board game level.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's probably what they're thinking. But like,
I can't believe I'm buying this.
I hope it changes their mind. I hope it does. Yeah, so that was kind of fun to see. Our friendly local game stores are closed at this time.
Yeah, as they should be.
As they should. So we weren't walking through there where we normally buy our games.
No, that's cool because we're in the same boat as everyone else. We're looking for stuff to do with our children. to keep them busy, and they love puzzles. And you can only do a puzzle twice, in my opinion. Yeah. Especially if there's less than 100 pieces.
Yeah, they can do it over and over, but my patience wears thin.
Yeah, I get that for sure. And you can't find that kind of stuff, which is cool. I mean, that means families are doing it together and spending time doing it. But it's also frustrating because we also want to participate.
I know. Well, at least we have a lot of games to choose from.
That's true.
Not really kid games, but they can help us with the pieces and the meeples.
Yeah, they're really good dice rollers.
And my second little piece of news is that we got Forgotten Waters, the new Plaid Hat game, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. I remember I pre-ordered it when the first pre-order announcement came out, and I was like, this looks really cool. Done. We are usually pretty big fans of what they do.
Yes.
At Plaid Hat.
Yes. If you listen to the solo episode, that bonus episode that we did a couple weeks ago, I raved about one of their games, Abomination.
Oh, that's right. I keep on forgetting that they do that one because it just seems so out of their style. You know what I mean? Like it's a very dark game.
It is dark.
And they have a lot of games like this. Forgotten Waters one is very whimsical and mystical. And then they have like ones about little mice going on adventures.
Right.
There's
the fables, the stuffed fables.
There's a bunch of games in that world. So I guess it makes sense now that I think about it, because they did have Dead of Winter, which is also all about zombies. So
right.
I don't know, just kind of funny. But yeah, we played a couple scenarios. It's really fun.
This is my news.
Oh, that's right. I'll let you go.
You can't take it.
All right.
Don't take it from me. So we had a couple scenarios under our belt.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's really fun. We are enjoying it. I don't know if we'll do a whole episode on it. I guess time will tell. But it's been a fun one. It's piratey and...
yeah, like the game we're talking about today. It's app-driven.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think they're still working on getting some more scenarios with the voice on the app. But the first one that we did had a voice on the app, and it was good. It was fun to play, and we enjoyed that world.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun to be a pirate.
Yes.
We are, like most games that we talk about in here, we're also looking forward to playing it with other people. I think this game would really benefit from that.
Yeah, they had to produce special solo and 2-player rules that you can print out online. So the game is not really... You can play it 1 and 2-player, which we did.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah. So not to say you can't, but I think it's intended for more.
Yeah. So if you're interested, definitely look it up. Plaid Hat Games, Forgotten Waters. It's good. It's getting a lot of buzz right now. A lot of people are excited for it.
All right. What is up with you, Christian?
And what is up with me? Well, being stuck at home, I'm sitting on my computer all day working. And in between all that, you got to browse for games and just look up stuff on what's going on.
He's impulse buying, everyone.
I'm not impulse. Well, yeah, I did. I impulse bought today a book that my 6th grade teacher read to the class.
That is a great impulse.
Isn't that great? We are talking about old books, and I think every boy who went to school in the 90s probably read The Hatchet. And we were talking about that, and then my teacher read one called Death Watch, and I just really remember it, and I looked it up and bought it. So I'm going to read it again in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. But that's not a board game.
No, but that was a good example of an impulse buy.
Yeah, that's the most impulsive buy I've had recently. But I'm looking at Kickstarter a lot. There's lots going on in Kickstarter. Ankh is out from Simon Games. Come on, however you do that. They did Blood Rage, which we have, and I really enjoy. Angela, not so much. So it's really cool. It's set in Egypt, which you do like.
I really like the theme of this game. I've watched the trailer about...
Like
is that what you call it?
Yeah.
The trailer? Yeah, at least 3 times. And I don't know that I'm going to love the mechanics of the game, but thematically, I really...
Yeah. It looks really neat. There's all like the Egyptian gods that you can be. Like the only one I can think of is Horus, and I'm sure there's more than that. But yeah, that's really cool. That's really popular on Kickstarter right now. And then a few weeks ago, PAX Premier Second Edition was out, and that was done by the guys, or some of the guys who did Root, which was on our a couple shows ago that we talked about. So part of Leader Games, but not really. I don't really know what the deal is there, but like one of the guys on Leader helped produce and design this game, and that was very popular too. So,
and it looks cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's like I'm in
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, the two games that I'm talking about here are like very historical, which is kind of cool. I feel like I'm on a historical kick with. We have Watergate, which we recently bought, and Undaunted Normandy, and then like Ankh and this PAX Premier are both set in like very historical settings, which is that's really interesting to me. I always have liked history, so
and games like Chronicles of Crime are doing that now with their expansion.
That's true.
Time stories.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's been going on, we got a lot of requests for us to give Arkham Horror another try. Arkham Horror LCG, which I think we mentioned it before on our last solo episode. Because that's the one that I tried to play solo.
Yes.
And failed at it. But I think what I want to do and what we're going to try to do, if we can get the cards, which we can't right now because we can't go anywhere, is just at least do one campaign cycle. So it's like 5 packs, take us through a campaign, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
We like the Arkham world with Mansions of Madness. We like being in that 1920s weirdness.
Yep.
So hopefully this brings a lot of those same elements differently to this game.
Yeah. I enjoyed our first couple playthroughs, so a campaign would be a fun addition.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to see how the story evolves with maybe even with the cards that you get and characters that you unlock. I don't even really know how it works because I've purposely not looked into it all that much to be pleasantly surprised.
Nice. You're being patient.
I am. That is something I am so good at. Well, I think that's about it for us. Really short segment here, but what game are we talking about this show, Ange?
We are going to be talking about Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So it's a big boy. Stay tuned. This episode is sponsored by Show It. Hey, Christian, why do we love Show It?
Well, we love it because we are terrible at designing websites.
That is true.
And we were able to make our site using Show It in a couple hours.
Yeah, if you're stuck in like some boring website template, you need to check out Show It and experience what they have to offer. It's really simple. It's drag and drop. And our website, if you've never been there, is beautiful, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, we use Show It to make it, and you can get started for free. Showit.co. Check it out. All right, so Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. That is probably the longest title for a board game that we own.
It is. I think maybe Wasteland Express Delivery Service rivals it.
That's true. Yep, and it's one of those games that I can never get correct. Journeys through Middle-earth, journeys around under.
I am only getting it correct because I'm turning my head to look at the title on our game shelf as we speak.
Yeah. Well, Angela, why don't you do a quick description of the game, and then we can jump in and just break it down, and we'll talk about our thoughts.
All right, guys. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. No surprise, this takes place in the whole realm of Middle-earth that J.R.R. Tolkien's book sagas are based on. The Hobbit and the whole Lord of the Rings saga. It's an app-driven game. It's for 1 to 5 people, and it's cooperative, so everyone's going to be playing together. Players take on the roles of characters from the Lord of the Rings sagas. You and your fellow adventurers are going to be fighting and searching and interacting your way through Middle-earth, a campaign, as Christian alluded to before, and whatever quest the story is telling you to fulfill. If you've played Mansions of Madness before, it's very similar to that. And you're just set in a different world.
Yeah, it is so similar to Mansions of Madness, which is one of the things that first brought us to this game.
Yes.
Yeah. We've always been fans of Lord of the Rings. I think most people are, and even most people who play board games probably love Lord of the Rings.
Should we all just sing Misty Mountains right now? Everybody, wherever you're at. Oh, that was very good.
Yeah, thank you. So this was an easy purchase for us. But the funny thing is it came out almost a year ago, like right now. And
oh, wow. I thought it had been longer.
I could be wrong, but I feel like it's been about a year.
Okay.
And we didn't play it that much the first year.
No. Well, and we're going to probably talk about how this style of play can be prohibitive to some people.
Yeah, that's true. So let's just jump into this game. Let's talk about what we like to talk about on this show. And that first category is ease of setup and tear down. What do you think about that, Ange?
All right. Well, in our arbitrary scale from easy to hard, it's probably a medium. It has a lot of components. It's nice that the app is there to kind of direct you with a few things, but still you have miniatures that you need to take out. There's cards, there's player mats. We have nice, beautiful, upgraded player mats.
That's true.
Shout out to those. We love those. There are, what would you call them? Character cards. There's tons of miniature cards, which Christian loves.
I really hate baby cards.
They're just so hard to shuffle.
I know, and I understand why they do it, but it's my least favorite part about board games.
Right. So character cards, class cards, basic cards, item cards. You get the idea.
Yeah.
It's cards coming out your butt. And then there's... Was that not right?
There's a lot of cards is what she's trying to say. Because it's a card-driven game in that there's no dice to roll. So everything is done with the cards that you have in your special character deck, whether it's Aragorn, whether it's Gimli or Bilbo. You draw cards, and that's how you determine if you pass a test.
Yeah, so there's a difference there from Mansions. Mansions includes dice. So we think there's a lot going on with setup and getting your play area ready. It's going to be medium because there's always going to be a lot going on, but I don't think it crosses over into hard for me, because hard would be I can't remember what to set up each time.
That's true. The app walks you through it. Yeah. One of the hardest things for me in this game, it's not difficult, maybe annoying, is that I never know how big the map will be, how big it's going to generate. And so for us, the ease of setting up might be fine. We set the game up in 2 minutes, but then like 10 minutes into this campaign of us killing orcs and rescuing hobbits, all of a sudden there are so many tiles on the board that we've moved our player boards down way to the left of where we are because the map sprawled out over into one of our areas.
I think Christian was like, do we need to buy a gaming table?
Yeah.
Because of this game.
It just kept on, one night it just kept on growing and like going in one direction. We're like, come on, just turn the other way and we'd be fine.
Coil around. We don't have any more room that way.
Yeah, it's a small annoyance, but it doesn't really affect the setup or tear down. It's very easy to follow the directions in the app. You know where the map tiles go. Once you set up a game, you know how the character cards go. It's one of those that the more you do, the easier it becomes.
There's a tiny bit of building your deck. No, I mean nothing like Marvel Champions and absolutely nothing like Star Wars Destiny. But you do have to decide what did you call it? Specialty you're going to have? Class.
Yeah.
Burglar. Say that.
Burglar.
Yeah. The Hamburglar?
Yep.
Guardian.
Yeah.
Whatever you're going to be. So there is a little bit of that, and you can switch those up, even though the game does have standards they recommend to start out.
Yeah, one thing that will really help you in this area of the game is organization when you're done. If you just decide to put all the cards in one big giant pile, you're never going to get this thing set up again.
No, you're not going to come back to that game because you're going to have a flashback of how you put it back in the box the last time.
And I did that once. I played this with my work friends. Mm-hmm. We played like 3 scenarios one night, and it was like 1:15. And I was like, I don't really care how I put this back. I just want to go to bed right now. So I threw it all in a bucket or in the box. And then it sat on the shelf for like almost a year in that state until a couple weeks ago when we decided to do this game for the show. And I sat and organized it in my office here for about an hour.
He was gone for minutes upon minutes. I think I thought you were in the bathroom at first, and then 20 minutes went by, 30 minutes, and I was like, hey kids, where's your dad?
And I was just in a pile of Lord of the Rings mini cards.
He's in his office. And so I go in and check, and there's just like, it's like the Lord of the Rings game threw up in here.
Yeah. Organization is key. So if you do have this or you're thinking about getting that, just remember that. Don't throw everything into a bag and just hope it happens again next time. But to wrap it up, it's a medium-sized setup.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to our second category. How accessible is learning to play? We like this one because we always teach friends who aren't normal board gamers. Mm-hmm. So we always take this into consideration when people come over to play games. How long are these people going to take to understand this?
Yeah. Or maybe it's a game just for us if we feel like it's
true.
Maybe too hard to teach or for specific friends of ours.
Yep.
Okay, so this one seems to us to be pretty easy and accessible for someone that is new to games. And the cooperative aspect helps a lot with that. So everyone's on the same team. So it helps that if you bring a new person and a non-gaming person to the table, you can help them out because everyone's on the same team anyway, and they can just kind of go along with things. And the app is there. So the app is telling us what to do and when to put tokens out. We don't need to keep track of people's stats. The app keeps track of the enemy's stats. And those things help make it a little bit easier. What's the hardest part, do you think, of
learning to play?
Yeah.
The hardest part is probably the cards.
Yeah.
And like realizing what the cards mean, and you use the cards to pass tests. So in a D&D style game or Mansions, if your skill level in strength is 4, typically you roll 4 dice.
Right.
Or something like that. In this game, you draw 4 cards.
Yes.
So it's similar but different. And so the cards have successes or failures on them. Another thing the cards have is also text.
Oh, all the keywords. There's tons of keywords.
There's a lot of keywords, and what's confusing is the keywords don't matter in tests. They only matter if you, I'm putting up finger quotes, if you prepare a skill, which is totally different. Like, your character can have skills that you have set up for that one time when you want to do big damage. Well, you better have the right keyword card out there.
Right.
Or if you want to heal 5 points, you better have that keyword card out there. That the keywords don't matter in tests, but they matter in interaction and how to respond to things. Mm-hmm. So there are a ton of keywords, and a lot of the times the keywords are explained on the card. And it says like sprint 2, and it'll say move 2 extra spaces in parentheses.
Right.
That helps a lot. A lot of the times it doesn't. And so we're always like, okay, what does guard mean? Or what does diddle on the flute mean?
I think we could probably, I don't know if you're actually up for doing it right now, but we could probably play a game where we just like throw out keywords and the first person to miss. Like, there's so many keywords. There's smite, sunder, pierce, hide, strike,
yes.
guard. There's tons and tons. But then I guess the only upside to that is the back page of the rules reference and the learn to play do list all the keywords. So you don't have to go digging.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of times where we've played the game and been like, say we kill a guy who was supposed to have been elite. And we're like, oh, we didn't do that right. He should have hit us back one more time or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to catch yourself on. It's not the end of the world if that happens, but after the fact, you're like, oh, yeah, there's a rule there that we didn't catch.
Yes.
And it didn't make it very clear, even in the app, that was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things that come up like that, and you can see evidence of that if you search the BGG forums for this game.
Yeah.
There's just pages and pages of rules clarification.
Mm-hmm. One thing that we've found that helps a lot, that Angela mentioned earlier, is that I actually pre-ordered this game when it was first announced because I was hyped for the Mansions of Madness version, or Lord of the Rings version of Mansions of Madness.
Would you say it was an impulse buy?
This one was not impulse. It was definitely calculated. But one of the bonuses is we got player mats, which are really cool. I was under the impression when I pre-ordered it that they would just be like cardboard mats with little areas to put all your cards. I was pleasantly surprised when I got the shipment because they were like neoprene mats. They're like
mouse pad.
Yeah, little tiny mouse pads that are probably like, this is probably not the right dimensions, but like 1 foot by 6 inches. Mm-hmm. So 12 by 6 inches. Mm-hmm. And you can put your player card. You can put all those prepared skills that we mentioned earlier. You have item cards that you have to worry about. You can put your damage, your inspiration, which is currency you get, and it keeps it all there for you.
It's nice.
I find it very hard to imagine what it would be like to play without that.
Yeah.
Because we've only had that. So if you've played it without those, I'm just curious how does it go? Because there's a lot going on for each player.
Right. It's a nice little home for all your stuff without it looking chaotic.
Yeah.
So I think there's someone new coming to the gaming table would probably need to play this with people that are in the gaming world more than they are. Mm-hmm. It'd be hard for me to imagine, like, let's say 4 friends who've never done games before picking this up and trying it.
Yeah. I mean,
now
they
that
could
we've mentioned all the keywords.
Yeah, it depends on how big into Lord of the Rings they are. That's what's...
Yeah, sure. If you're motivated by Lord of the Rings.
That's the wild card for this one, is that they may not care.
That's true.
Lord of the Rings is life. And so they're diving into this one, which I could definitely see. I'm kind of the same way with Star Wars, which we've talked about before. Put Star Wars on whatever, cheese, lunchbox, milk. I'm ready to go.
A Ziploc baggie.
Let's go buy it. So learning to play this one, it's easy. For people like us, for someone who's not really an avid board gamer, it's just a slight hair above easy. Mm-hmm. Closer to the medium difficulty.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it has the ability, like the potential to get really complex.
Yeah, but once you get the testing with the cards and your prepared skills, which it took us a few plays to realize, like, okay, so I prepared this skill. What does that mean? Like, when does this go into effect? When does this go into effect? Once you get that down, then
that's true.
It's easy.
Mechanics are easy. Mm-hmm. I think there's like specific rules that pop up that are harder to sift through.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's great. Easy to play, easy to learn. How immersive is this game, Angela? This is our favorite category, and we say it all the time.
Well, really, I mean, guys, no surprise here. And it's Fantasy Flight, which I think does a good job of this in general. It is very immersive. Yeah. And thank you to the app for that, adding to that immersive experience.
Yeah, I think that what the app is what makes it for this one. Mm-hmm. There's not just someone going, okay, someone stole a crown and you have to go find it. Take your band over to the tavern. Like, there's not anyone just saying that. It plays out for you.
Yes.
And there's a mystery. You don't know where you're going.
We love that there's 2 different types of maps. So there are journey maps, which are probably the most similar to mansions. Like the journey map evolves as the story is being told. Now they're not shaped like rectangles and squares as Mansions of Madness are. They're just crazy shapes.
Yeah, they're like weird
polygons,
chunks of hexagons,
right?
In
They
different
fit together.
wild shapes, which makes some really cool looking maps, and they're always different, which is really cool. So the journey map, in my mind, those are quests like in Two Towers when Legolas and Gimli are running after the orcs to rescue Merry and Pippin. You're going long distances. You're going through, mountains and valleys.
You're covering terrain.
Yeah, that's a journey map. Mm-hmm. You're going from point A to point B in your campaign.
That's a good explanation.
And now there's another map.
So then they also have battle maps, and the app tells you before you start your scenario which are you going to be encountering a journey map? Are you going to be encountering a battle map? Now, battle maps are nice in the setup in that it can only get so big.
That's true. And
journey maps can evolve to be very big depending on, as the name says, how involved your journey is.
Yeah.
But the battle map is just more like you're going to have an intimate scenario, like you're just going to be walking into a tavern and talking to people. And so there's really only one building.
Yeah, and the journey map, or not the journey map, sorry, the battle maps, there are only 5 spaces on this whole map. So there's not a lot of places to go. Usually, like Angela said, you're in an enclosed area, like a tavern, or I almost said hotel, but that's the same thing.
Or you are actually in the lair of a bad guy and you're confronting them. So I think the point is they don't want you in a battle map running away.
Yeah.
You only have 5 spaces. You're going to confront and interact with things by force.
Yep. And we've had a couple scenarios where it was just like, the goal is you just got to get in and you have to kill all these people. Or orcs, not people. That was the goal, is to like take out the bad guy before he goes and steals something else. And then the other one, like Angela said, is more like a deduction thing where you're in the tavern, somebody stole milk, and you have to find out who did it.
Mm-hmm. And you guys, there's really cool miniatures. Really like the cave troll. Spoiler alert.
It's the biggest one, and it's like 3 inches tall or something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Our son plays with it, thinks it's really cool. Christian probably wishes he could paint all those.
I do. I think it would just look so cool on the board rather than just gray bad guys and tan heroes.
Good guys. Yeah. And side note, maybe you should paint them because you have the hardest time telling the difference between the orc marauders and the raiders. And
oh my gosh, guys! There's 2 bad guy models that they're posed very similar. Like they're both posed in like a come at me bro stance with like their weapons down to the side, except one of them is like a bald dude with clubs, and then the other one is an orc with swords. And every time they're like, get a marauder, I get the other one. Yeah. And get a ruffian. I get the wrong one again. And so like we'll be fighting. I'm like, this is not the right model. I need to put this back.
We try so hard, but he has trouble with those ones. So maybe if we just painted them different colors.
That would probably help, to be honest.
So that's a little silly backstory.
Yeah.
The app does come with music. We had one of our friends on Instagram say that it would be cool, or they have done the Lord of the Rings soundtrack in the background during their campaign. We haven't done that personally, but I can see how that would be really neat to add to the theme. So going into that, it is a campaign game.
Yeah, that's really what's really neat about this as well, is you don't really win or lose each scenario.
I think technically the game does say the heroes have won this scenario or something like that, but explain what you mean by that.
Well, the first scenario in the game, for example, is you need to try to find the bad guy's hideout. And so you're searching for the hideout. And when you actually find it, I'm just going to spoil it. It's not a big deal. You have the option to sneak in, or you have the option, or if you fail sneaking in, basically, you make a bunch of noise, but you still get in. And then depending on how you got in, the next scenario changes. So if you sneak in, there might be less bad guys because they don't know you're there. Right. But if you made a lot of noise, there's more bad guys and they're looking for you. Yes. So it makes the next scenario more difficult or possibly easier.
So they stack on each other, which is cool. And there's no way you can like lose and it go,
game over.
You can't play the next one of this campaign.
You're on 10 out of 12.
You suck so bad.
Yeah, you guys all died. Start over.
So there's none of that. But you can get an advantage.
True.
Or you can be at a disadvantage. And the story is really great. Gosh, we've never wanted to watch the movies more than when they first came out.
No.
Which Christian reminded me that they're 20 years old now.
Yeah, they came out in, I think it was 2001.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So that's kind of makes you feel old, huh?
It makes me feel very old.
So they're doing something right. The theme is very, very prevalent. It makes you it just gets you sucked into the world. The only thing I can think of that they could have done better is just to have more time to explore that world and still have success in the game. And I guess that gets us into the next category.
Yeah, there's a big thing that Angela and I discovered that has to do with how fun this game is. And that's our next section that we're going to talk about is the fun factor. You got to play games and have fun, right?
Well, yeah, you have to have some type of fun.
And that's different for everybody, which we've realized even between you and me.
Yes, which you'll probably see that come out in this discussion.
Yep. So, let me tell you a story.
Oh.
About a band of adventurers. No, I'm not going to do that.
Let me get my pipe.
Yeah. So Angela and I started playing this game. Again, we hadn't played it in a long time. And so we're like, oh, let's just start over the new campaign, which is the same one we started a year ago. And we'll just jump into it, get our feet wet, and start. The goal, obviously, is to get to the end. Well, we made it through 3 scenarios, I think, on the normal mode. And I was not having it.
Christian was not having fun. You just had no motivation to pull this game out of the box.
No.
Unless something changed.
No, because in my opinion, and I know that's what it is. It's just mine, and other people can feel differently. But it gave you no room to breathe. It was just like, okay, here you are, first scenario, find the bad guy's hideout. Oh, by the way, next turn, 67 orcs are going to come and find you. And then after that, if you don't kill all 67 with your 2 actions, you have 30 more wolves chasing you next.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I don't want to just run away from bad guys the whole time. I want to fight some guys and make that part difficult. But I don't want that all the time.
It ruined your fun.
100%. And so I did some research on a new mode that they had released since we played it for the first time.
Right.
Called Adventure Mode. And that changed the game for me. Like, literally changed the game.
So some people would call Adventure Mode the easy mode. But I think that's maybe simplifying it too much. It doesn't just take the normal mode and make it easier. What it's doing is allowing you a little bit more breathing room, like Christian said, to just explore the world you're in. And getting into specifics, your threat does not trigger bad guys. So in that way, it's more like mansions where during the game's turn, certain characters are affected by things.
Yeah, it would be like Gimli falls and stubs his toe, take a damage. And you're like, oh, dang it. Rather than Gimli falls and stubs his toe, discard all of your items and also lose 6 health and 6 orcs attack you.
Well, in the normal mode, I don't think it affected individual characters at all.
No, you're right. It didn't. It
just brought on enemies.
More and more swarms of bad guys.
Yes. So I think it's a little bit too simplified to just say that adventure mode makes it easier, in quotes. Yes, it does make it easier, but it makes it more of what its name says. It makes it more of an adventure because you have time to explore and aren't rushed.
Yeah.
The normal mode does feel rushed. I will say the normal mode did not deter me as much as it deterred Christian. I was still having fun, but I am also captivated by challenging experiences. That is more fun for me than it is for Christian. Christian is looking for adventure, yes. And a challenge too, but I'd say I tend more towards the challenge side. And also, it's hard for me mentally to get over the fact that the rules say this is normal mode. And so I want to win in normal mode. Like, the name means a lot to me. And then, I don't know if you want to talk about how you felt, but when you were looking up what adventure mode was, you came across a lot of opinions online about the modes of this game.
Well, yeah, I feel like we have this thought with most of the games we look up online, is that everyone's like, it doesn't need it to be easier. It needs a super hard mode.
Right. So by that voice, I'm going to guess you don't agree.
I don't agree. I don't perfect any of these games that I play. That's not my goal, is to be the best board game player of all board games.
Right.
I just enjoy playing all board games. And I think that's the key, is just enjoy. Mm-hmm. I don't care if I lose. I don't care if I win. I like to win. I don't like to die in Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if there's a mode that just makes it easy for me to do that, I'm all in. Like,
yeah.
That's where I'm going to get the most joy out of this game, is because it is just a game.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think we talked about this at length in our episode with Marvel Champions, but that can kind of suck us down a rabbit hole of just feeling discouraged about a game.
Right.
When we read, and I know, okay, personal responsibility, we are choosing to look at these forums, but in this situation, we weren't seeking them out. We were just trying to find what adventure mode means. Like, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. Because we had a choice. Do we continue on in normal mode, or do we start completely over in adventure mode? Yeah. So we had this choice, and while we were looking up stuff, we got really discouraged about our play experience with people, I think maybe in harsher ways than others, like saying that the game's easy, it doesn't need an quote-unquote easier mode, we need a challenging mode. Anyone who can't play this game with success is just not doing well. What are you even doing?
We always have the opposite opinion, and like, they have to be doing something wrong to make this seem so easy.
Right.
So it's a funny mental exercise, or stress that you put yourself through. But did you know that there is a hard mode for this game?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never played it.
No.
But I've seen it on the screen. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that I don't know. Maybe I can't think that people are just that much better at it than us, because it does involve a little bit of luck. Like,
you have to draw your cards or roll your dice in other games.
Right. So you have to draw the right cards at the right time. And how can someone be better at that than me? Do you know what I mean? Like, It's not like, there is strategy, of course. But how can someone be better at drawing successes than me?
When everyone starts with 3, no matter what.
We both know how to draw cards. So that always, like, mystifies me. I guess I can see as the game progresses and the campaign goes on, like, depending on how well you did, you've accumulated better items or more trinkets or whatever that is. So maybe But at the beginning, I mean, how can you be better than me at drawing successes? We're both just drawing cards.
I don't know. The internet says they're better than us, so
Yeah, so
we just have to believe it.
That's so interesting to me.
So-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what we did is we played our 3 scenarios on normal, and then one night on the iPad, I just clicked through 3 scenarios in normal mode to catch us up. So we didn't really start over. We just kind of reset at the same scenario in adventure mode. Mm-hmm. And one thing we realized in that normal playthrough is we were each playing, I think we actually played 3 characters. We had one that we shared. Mm-hmm. And we're like, well, let's just both play 2. And that seemed to help us a lot more as well.
Yes.
There's a lot more utility that happens, like with the more characters you have, because this guy can heal, this person can search, and then 2 people can just destroy enemies. Mm-hmm. And that made it so much better as well.
Yeah, and a little more thematic for me, too, going back to the last category. I wanted Gimli and Legolas to be there.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to be with Frodo, but okay, Bilbo can come, that's fine. There's no Frodo. Would I have loved Gandalf to show up? Sure, but, it's just like thematically, I was like, where's Samwise and where's Frodo? And you just wanted like a bigger team.
Yeah, and you do kind of want to play the movies, and they don't give you the characters to do that, which I get. It's fine because you're playing this new scenario in this world, and it still fits. It's just you just find yourself wishing that you were playing the movie Fellowship.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is that we experienced a lot of issues with trinkets in that we could not find any.
Trinkets, man.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's more of just like a side note, a question for people to write in about, but...
Yeah, if you've played this game and have this game, how many trinket cards are you pulling? Because trinkets in this game are like extra stuff you find. You find a barrel full of extra food, so it heals you. Or you find a torch, so when you go in the darkness, you don't get darkness penalties. And to be honest, I don't know what else there is because I never, ever find them in this game.
Nope.
There's a stack of 20 cards that I've never looked through.
We don't know. I mean, we have not finished the entire campaign.
That's true, too. We're more than halfway.
Oh, yeah. We're well beyond halfway, and we have not encountered a single trinket. Not one.
And you got your first title as well, which because we killed this important person in the story, you got a title, which then is an extra card, which I had never had before either.
Right. So we're kind of like, what's up with the trinkets? We're not getting any trinkets.
Maybe it's an adventure mode thing. Like maybe they're not as prevalent there because it is that much simpler to go through. Maybe they show up more in the harder modes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have less time to search for that stuff in those modes. So you're just going to be overrun anyways. Mm-hmm. So like if I had a chance to go search in this empty log to try to find something or move 6 spaces away so I don't die, I'm going to move the spaces away.
Right, exactly. That's a little bit interesting with our experience. We haven't encountered trinkets.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yes. Fifth and final category.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Yeah. Maybe. This one's tough for me.
It is tough. It's a little bit muddy in my mind.
Yeah, because we did buy it so long ago and it sat. And I'm not willing to like get rid of it because of the theme, because of what game it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of what we talked about earlier, it's easy to learn to play, and there's enough people out there who don't really like board games but like Lord of the Rings that this game could be an easy one to be like, well, let's just play a board game about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Much easier than the Lord of the Rings card game.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And and with the app, it just makes it that much easier.
Right.
So is it worth it? I don't know.
I know.
It's tough.
I feel the same way. In one way, I can't picture us not having this game.
Yeah.
Because it is so thematic and it
checks off the right boxes for the games we like.
Yeah. But then again, I know that it's expensive and it's it's a campaign game. So once I'm done with a campaign, I'm not going to want to play that again.
No, that's true. If we ever got in that scenario where we beat the campaign, which we haven't, we know we're close. Just how the story is going, we're going to be close to finishing it, and we're looking forward to that, which is great. But once we do that, and we have those friends over who want to play this game, we got to start all the way over at the beginning, trying to find that stupid hideout again. So this game really needs like a standalone adventure,
like Mansions.
Yeah,
like just a standalone scenario.
Even if there was like 3 of them, like just something where you can just be like, okay, here's the goal, get to point A to point B and find this. Then I think that'd be so much better.
Yes.
Not better, but it would just add that much more to the game.
It would add the replayability. Because once it's done, it's kind of like a puzzle. You're like, I don't want to redo that puzzle again. I just did it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. So it's, for us, it's worth it because of the theme.
Yeah, it's been worth it as we talk through this show. I'm becoming more and more worth it. If you would have asked me, like 4 months ago, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I really need that in our collection.
Yeah, or if you were playing just normal mode.
Yeah, if I never found adventure mode, I'd be like, I'm done. This is. I mean, I don't want to say too hard, but for me it was. It was too hard for the amount of fun that I wanted to have.
Yeah, you weren't having fun, and then it became not worth it for you.
Yeah, definitely. If you love Lord of the Rings, it's 100% worth it. This will take you to a dream world of magic, and just take you right into that world. They've got a big box expansion coming out, which is really funny to me that this expansion costs as much and basically has the same amount of stuff as the base game. It's like another $80 purchase. Wow. You get 5 more heroes. You get a ton of tiles. You get a whole new campaign. The only thing that I don't like about it is like the heroes that they chose. It's the same thing. It's like, well, where's Frodo? Where's Boromir? They do give you Gandalf, which is great. But then they give you some dwarves from The Hobbit. I'm not a huge Hobbit fan. I enjoy it. But I don't know these people as well as I know the other guys.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like you're playing the movie.
Yeah. So there's 2 here that are from the movie. You get Arwen and Gandalf. And there's an Eleanor, which is a made-up person. And then you get 2 dwarves who I don't even know. But definitely something to look into if you're interested in this one. Or if you have this one and you didn't know about it. It's called Shadowed Paths. And it takes you to, not Mordor, but...
Milkwood. No?
Mirkwood. Not Star Wars Milkwood.
I didn't even know that was Star Wars.
No, it's not. I was just a callback to buying milk with Star Wars on it, or cheese.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then I think it takes you to the mines of Moria, which is a big Lord of the Rings thing. So I think it's cool. I just can't. I don't think I'm buying it. I wish I could just get Gandalf, to be honest. But I'm not looking to run out and get this one.
Yeah.
Just yet, unless it has amazing reviews.
Right.
So for us, definitely worth it. If you're thinking about it, if you can find it on a reduced price on Amazon or something, or if your local store is having little sales, I'd say go for it for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to be talking about what we learned about each other and our marriage by playing this game.
Well, all right. Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. We played a lot of this the past couple of weeks, right?
Yes. We thought we had high hopes of maybe completing the whole campaign and being able to tell you guys. But you know what? We're just going to say that we're still working through the campaign and...
We're going to do it, though. I think in the next 2 weeks we'll have it done.
Yes. Because
we do have to play other games so that we can talk about them. But we are both committed to each other...
And to Lord of the Rings.
Finishing this campaign. But we did have a couple of funny things come up. Funny is not the right word. Better word. Come up while we played this game.
Yeah. So we found well, normally in cooperative games, it alleviates tension at the table because we are working on the same team. We're cooperating with each other.
Like in life.
Against the game. That's so true. But a funny thing happened is that there were some stressful situations in this game that we noticed made us kind of short with each other.
What?
There was no arguments. But there was a couple times where there was some tension at the table. And it's not something we experience very often in cooperative games, so it kind of took us by surprise after the fact, once we had time to think about it. I think in the moment we were kind of not arguing, but just debating the merits of our different points of view.
Right. And that takes away a lot of the fun factor for me in games. When whether it's you and I disagreeing on what should happen next in the game, or if there's an argument about I'm not trading your sheep for wheat.
Right.
Like, I just don't feel like there's a place for that in games, but I understand why it happens, and it's just funny that it happened in a couple plays of this Lord of the Rings game.
I think maybe as I'm thinking about it and talking it out, it has to do with the fact that there are so many options and to explore or interact or search or even fight, and you're trying to sift through number one, the fact that you can't do them all, and number two, the fact that even if you could, some of them are red herrings. So you're trying to determine what to do so that you can have a successful scenario. And we had different ideas on a couple things, and you can't, in some situations, you get a huge disadvantage by splitting up the party.
It's a classic D&D mistake.
So that was just interesting to watch, or look back on, I guess. Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
To look back.
I think a lot of my decisions in games and life, whatever, are just made on feeling. I feel like I should go do this. I feel like I don't need to go down there because there's orcs, so I'm going to go up here. Mm-hmm. And that's not always the same for you.
Right. I do understand the feeling thing, because I get that as well. In the game, in life maybe more. In the game situation, I do want to have a reason. And so I think there was a lot of tension with well,
why do you want to go that way?
Yeah, tell me why you want to go that way. To just say you feel like going north on the map it's hard to
get behind that.
Right. And in that specific situation you're talking about, I'm not sure what my counter argument was. What did I have something besides feeling I was going on?
I don't know. I mean, you just probably wanted to go a different direction. We probably had a different hierarchy of what we thought was important.
Yes.
Where the bad guy's important, mm-hmm. was finding the lost hobbit important, or was finding the exit to the cavern important?
Yes.
So we probably thought each one of those had a different priority.
Right.
And we didn't tell each other where we thought those fell in whatever list we had.
Or even just I'm thinking of when we're battling enemies, and we sometimes got a little tense over who was doing what. Because Christian was controlling a character, Legolas, that has ranged ability, and I was controlling a heavy hitter, Gimli, who has no ranged ability, and so there was some tension over who should do what, and then you feel kind of this righteous anger when when Christian maybe gets his way, but then Legolas tests during the battle and fails his test miserably, which is no fault of Christian's. He just drew 3 dud cards in a row. But then I'm see, Gimli should have done it. And
mm-hmm. And then you do it and the same thing happens.
I know. And then you just get sad and angry about the experience in general. So that was just interesting to watch a unfold, because usually in cooperative games, we play to our strengths. Christian's good at adjusting to what's incoming. I'm good at planning, and we go from there. This one, maybe we didn't get into. I don't feel like we fell into that nice slot.
A normal groove. I can see that. Yeah, so definitely cooperate when you're playing cooperative games.
Communication, yes. And I don't think there was any arguments or hurt feelings like there have been in certain competitive games.
No, this is different because the thing that this game has in it is that, you don't win or lose. You just have advantages or disadvantages. So we're still going to get out of it. It's just a matter of maybe my way's shorter, maybe her way's shorter, just determining who we're going to listen to in that moment.
Totally. So, interesting thing to learn about each other. Well, we played a cooperative game.
Yeah, doesn't happen often, but you know what? Every once in a while.
And we will be right back for our feedback.
Well, thanks everybody for making it to the end of the show. And we always like to wrap things up by asking our listeners a question and maybe reading some responses from previous episodes' question. So, last question we asked was, what game are you most looking forward to playing once quarantine or this COVID
physical distancing
there you go.
Is not as needed?
Yeah.
So, on Instagram, @BoardGameOCD wrote in and said that he is looking forward to playing Maracaibo and bringing that back on the table for 4 people.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about that one.
I do, and it does look pretty. Like, have you seen it? Pictures.
The map is cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a game we've heard a lot about, and it makes sense. Like, that question came up in our Root episode. So
yeah, it's been a few episodes.
We wanted to have that experience of Root with 4 players, so we understand what it's like to not get that experience you want.
Yeah, I know, for sure. We still cannot wait to play Root with our friends.
So what's up for our question this time?
Yeah, I think you better ask this question because you asked it much better than I did when we practiced. Yeah.
Well, that's a high praise to live up to here. We talked about a lot of theme elements in this episode with the Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. And we're wondering what element adds the most to a game's theme for you. So is it going to be the soundtrack or something playing in the background? Is it going to be the fact that it's based off a book or a movie? Maybe painting your miniatures and having those more polished on the play area makes it really thematic for you. Is it the artwork?
Or an app?
Or an app? Does the app bring you in? And that could be to any game. It doesn't have to be specifically the Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth, but when you think of the most thematic game on your shelf, what is the thing that makes it so thematic for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you explained it wonderfully.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so how can they reach us to answer that question, Ange?
Okay, so you can email us, hello@marriedandbored.com. You can also just direct message us, or respond to one of our posts on Instagram @marriedandbored.
Yep, and then on our website, marriedandbored.com, there's a contact form that you can just fill out and ask us whatever you want, tell us whatever you want. We're always so excited when we get that notification that somebody filled it out.
Yeah, for us, it's
communicating in that way.
Just a big game conversation that we like to have.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening. 15 shows. We are killing it.
Oh, that's... Let's give ourselves a pat on the back, shall we?
We're doing great.
Let's go have a drink to celebrate.
Let's do it.
All right. Stay safe, everybody.
See you next time.
In the Misty Mountains. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.